Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the future of Dubai for those of you who might be interested in moving there or investing there or, just in general. I'm going to talk a little bit about where Dubai has come from and how that tells you a little bit about where the city and I guess the country, UAE in general, is going. So let's dive into that. Before we do, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the all notifications bell. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up at the end. Appreciate your support. And if you would like help with these subjects of where to relocate, getting residency permits, second citizenships, doing international tax planning and asset protection, etc., please reach out to me. You can book a call, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer, link in the description below, or send a message through our websites, offshorecitizen.net and offshorecapitalist.com. Okay, so there's this interesting thing. If a person comes to Dubai, what you will learn as you start, if you're coming to move, that is, you will learn that it is known in a lot of places for poor quality of construction. In particular, you could go to an area which is quite nice, like Marina, and you'll go around, you can look at these buildings, and you're going to find generally not that great construction. Now, there's a few builders who are known for having better quality build than many others, but there's just a lot of buildings that are kind of poorly made. And one might ask the question of why that is, and you can be kind of cynical about it, but I actually think it's easier to understand it from a pragmatic standpoint. The pragmatic standpoint essentially is this. We're at 2021 today. If you were to go back 30 years to 1990, which is not very long ago, there was virtually nothing, right? Where Burj Khalifa is today, used to be a military base. Sheikh Zayed Road, which is this massive road kind of running across the city and down into leads to Abu Dhabi, was nothing. It was like a dirt road, right? Basically, everything further down than the Old Town area was just nothing. And when they started to build Dubai, what did they optimize for? They optimized typically for low cost, and this was really pragmatic. This was very smart of them, right? Because at the time, you couldn't pitch Dubai as a city for rich people, a city of luxury, lots of options, beautiful, etc. I mean, realistically, the beaches wouldn't compare to beaches in many other parts of the world, right? Even though there are beaches in Dubai. At the time, you didn't have tourist attractions, etc. You didn't have that many opportunities in terms of jobs, etc. Okay, you had zero tax, but at the time it was easier to optimize for tax and people's work was more local anyway, so you really couldn't benefit from that. And so what was it that you would do? Well, what they optimized for was low cost, right? So it was a place that you could come, you could have zero tax, you could find some opportunities in the Middle East, and you could live and acquire assets for relatively cheap, okay? Cost of labor was low, cost of construction was low, etc. Now, the trade-off is when you optimize for low cost, what happens? You typically are going to have low quality that goes along with it. Of course, you can try and optimize, the quality to cost ratio, but if you're optimizing purely for cost, quality will suffer. And so that was kind of the early story of Dubai. Now, as time progressed, what happened was they started to bring in more landmarks, they started to do things bigger and better, they started to have momentum, they started to have success. They built Burj Khalifa, they built the Dubai Mall, they built Burj Al Arab, they built all these different things that started to put Dubai on the map as an international center. And they did a phenomenally great job of building these iconic sites. They brought together Emirates Airlines, which became, really set the standard at the time for business class and first class flights, luxury flights, service, etc. And kind of created a template that now is copied by countries like Qatar, etc. Great job on their behalf. Now, what this of course does is it increasingly attracts a group of people who are, willing to spend more money, etc. And so you've got this ecosystem of restaurants now, you have, nightlife and shows and shopping and, almost everything that a person could expect or want in a big city. And this tells you a little bit about the trajectory. Now, if you're thinking about optimizing either a business or an individual or a country, if you have a scarce set of resources, what you want to do is you want to kind of move up the value chain. So you want to be in a situation where you enter and you can have some sort of a niche, you can carve out some space for yourself, and then you want to increasingly move up the value chain because that's where the margins are best, right? So what's best for your people, what's best for the country, et cetera, is to do that, which means tending towards more and more luxury. And you can see this with developments. I mean, today you have Il Prima, which is a crazy high rise. You've got Omniat, Dorchester Collection in Business Bay. You've got the Royal Atlantis. You've got developments like this where there's really, really high-end apartments, et cetera, going up. And so is the issue underlying that you're going to be stuck with this quality? And I would say absolutely not. So what's good is we see this move towards higher and higher. Now, the consequence of it is there's a trade-off that the costs get higher, right? Now, of course, there's some things they can work to kind of redress in reverse by saying, okay, we have issues because we have to import food, but, and so we're going to build Agritech City, and we're going to work on vertical farming and greenhouses and growing things locally. Awesome, fantastic, right? You can do some things to force costs down in that regard. It's well suited for solar power, etc. But generally, you're going to still have this upwards pressure when you try and elevate the quality of construction, the quality of service, the quality of, all these things that, might have this negative. You're going to, as you try and raise those standards, the costs are going to go up. Now, the good news is they can afford to make the costs go up because the people who are coming can afford more, and there's other trade-offs that they're willing to make, right? There's a higher quality of lifestyle, you have lower taxes, you have, things like this. So that is what I'm seeing in Dubai, and UAE in general, but Dubai in particular, is Dubai used to be cheap up until, I would argue that around the maybe like post 2008 was probably the inflection point where there was enough momentum to start turning that. And today it's started to get much more expensive, but the trade-off is you have much nicer buildings, much better construction, a move towards higher quality of service. Before there was always a lot of service. It was a very service-oriented culture, but higher quality culture, higher quality service, etc. So that is what I would expect. Now on the other front, you have how are they working to optimize in areas that things are weak? Well, you can look out the window. I'm in Dubai right now, and you can see a lot of desert and a lot of sand, etc. Some people like that. There's a certain appeal to it. But there's also a lot of people who like green space. So what have they decided? They've decided they are going to bring in 70% of the city. They're going to transform into green space, which is an insane goal to do in the middle of the desert, but very, very impressive. And so I think you'll expect more and more of that sort of transformation over time. So for people who are interested in moving, you can kind of understand this is what to look for. You want to look for places that are newer, where the quality is better, not the older places where quality is worse. You want to look for kind of the developments where you have the newer builders. Ellington, as an example, would be high quality. MR tends to do high quality. There's a variety of different builders that are high quality. And then you've got some other ones where it's just like some bizarre constructions. Anyway, I hope that gives you a sense of kind of the history of where things have come from, where things are going to. And if you have questions, put them in the comments below. Would love to hear your thoughts. Another thing I guess you could see is that the VAT was historically 0, then it went to 5%. It's probably going up. Over time, you can see the template already with Saudi Arabia, which went to 15% VAT. You'll probably see something more like that as things kind of recalibrate and they're looking for kind of different funding methods. So I hope that helps. If you have questions, put them in the comments below. I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.